Hello, I am
Welcome,
Lee from
welcome.
Pedalboards of Doom, and to my left, maybe right, depending on how you're watching this, is Mr. Budget Pedal Chap.
Hello, Lee. This is odd being introduced. I am usually the introducer.
Yes, but you are now the introducee. But we have someone else to introduce. Who shall we introduce?
Um, well, this other chap who's down here, who might be a little bit of a game changer. Well, hey,
This is
Go
where
on.
you kind of say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, yeah, so Lee, who have we got?
This is Ilja, who is the mastermind and main man behind Gamechanger Audio. You'll know them from things such as... I sound like that guy from The Simpsons, don't I? You might remember me from movies such as...
No, Troy McClure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the plus pedal, the plasma pedal, all those sort of things. And yeah, this... do you think your team will mind me calling you the main man?
No, I don't think they care. They're way too intelligent to care about things like that.
Nice.
Okay.
No, I mean like it's okay. Like we all know that like I'm the dumbest person in the whole company.
That's it. So get him in front of the camera.
Yeah. Oh man. Right. Okay. So our friend here has a few questions he wants to kick us off with. So about Game Changer and kind of how you came about.
Might as well, right? We're all like extremely busy these days, right?
That's it. Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's I'm happy to be here. Thanks for choosing to cover our stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, like we've been like featured in many like posts on the Facebook group, and it's always a mixed bag of reactions, and sometimes like some of the greatest shit and some of the greatest like insults like that we find about our pedals, like that's on the Pedalboards of Doom.
Yeah.
Like, and we have a nice collection of the best like best worst comments.
I mean,
It's crazy,
that's
isn't
an
it?
accolade of itself, isn't it?
Sorry,
Says that's an accolade in and of itself, having the like the best comments and the worst comments.
Yeah, we love the worst comments. We like some companies they put like pictures of Steve Jobs on the walls. We have the worst like fan mail and worst comments like printed out everywhere.
Brilliant. Oh my
But
goodness.
we also have the great like the big like thank you letters as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's one way of inspiring, isn't it? If you've got people who are like going against you, you really want to prove them wrong, and do it to show them.
There's a lot of love on Pedalboards of Doom for your stuff as well, though.
There is, of course.
It's always
Absolutely.
I always say that the people with the biggest mouths have the the minorities always have the biggest mouths, and we strongly condemn anyone who picks on any individual or company. It's just not cool, man. It really isn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we don't mind, and since day one, like all of our releases have been so. I think it just comes with the territory. Like if you're gonna have like a big name such as Gamechanger Audio, and if you're gonna come up with these like crazy concepts that are so like asking for attention, like you have to realize that the certain amount of hate or mixed responses will come with the territory. And I mean, that's actually like something we don't get worried about at all. It's like every great piece of like every innovative thing gets its fair share of hate and criticism. So
look how much slack Star Wars gets every time they release anything. It's just like, oh, this was rubbish. Everyone they're just waiting for the film to come out so they can say it's rubbish.
Yeah, just like trashing the film is like better than watching it.
Yeah, no, it really irritates me. It really does. People can't just enjoy things nowadays. I remember when the Plus pedal came out and people were saying, "Oh, it's just one of these," or "Oh, it's just one of those," and it's like, no.
Yeah, they kept saying, "No, it's how is this different from the Electro Harmonix Freeze that's like 10 years old?"
Yeah,
and then you actually hear it and you go, "Well, yeah, actually, it is."
Yeah. It's a million miles away from it. It's got so much more functionality. You know, these are the same people who are happy to go out and buy 20 different versions of the Tube Screamer. And then they turn around and say, how's that different from that? Look at it.
So, that's a nice place to segue into the plus pedal, because that was the first thing from Gamechanger that I ever heard about, which was NAMM. It was Summer NAMM about 3 years ago or something like that, was it?
Like our first NAMM debut was the Winter NAMM 2017.
There you go then, yeah. And people were showing this like piano sustain pedal and going, this is for the guitar.
Yeah.
And that was, like you say, it draws attention to itself because it's just completely it's something that's familiar but not in that context.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things that the Freeze lacked to accomplish, it's like and what hopefully the plus pedal had kind of got right from the get-go, is that like, to me, like, I remember walking past like the Freeze pedal in guitar shops, and I just never I never registered what it does. And I think certainly there's very well-educated people and people with a lot of experience who have been following gear for tens of years and whatnot. Obviously, they were aware of what the Freeze was and what it did. But I think what the plus pedal accomplishes with its fit, like that design factor with the brass pedal and everything, like it just instantly sells you the idea of wanting to use a damper pedal. Like you if you see it on online, or like if you see it in the store without plugging it in, without even doing anything, when it's like what fuck piano pedal plus for guitar. That's something that you get, like, and I'm willing to argue that for many people that was the first time when they put those two concepts together. It's like, ooh, fuck, I would like to try that.
Yeah.
Where earlier, like, you might have seen the somewhere, and like you didn't even, it's like just a box that says Freeze, and you maybe didn't get to plug it in or didn't get it or something. But yeah, we didn't even view the Freeze as a competition, because because it's a pedal and a product. It's like a musical instrument is like the whole package. It's like the visual aspect, how you use it, and also the improved algorithm and all the functionality. We knew that, like, okay, there's the Freeze, but somewhere, like there's 15 reasons why our thing is a different thing. So it doesn't shock me why we got compared to them all the time and we're being called a knockoff. But come on, like, is it really a knockoff? Like, when you see all the other stuff that's going on in the pedal world, it's like every pedal is a knockoff of something. With like our DNA is like 99.9% as a chimps or something. Then, well, in that case, all other pedals share 99% DNA as well.
If you face it, right, you can your pedal's got 4 different knobs. The Freeze has got 1, right?
But
you can adjust the rise time. You can blend it in.
To be sorry to interrupt, Lee, but like, to be fair, Electric Harmonics has an advanced version of the Freeze called the Super Ego, and they have like those additional knobs as well, and actually other features that ours doesn't have. So I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say that the main difference between them is actually the sound algorithm itself.
Yeah.
So to simplify, and like, I hope that the viewers kind of know what exactly, like, have a little bit of information or point of reference. But so we're comparing two pedals that both do this like sample and hold functionality. So there's I'm not like, please don't take my word as law, but basically there's like 3 types of traditionally there's 2 types of like this, how to achieve this like
sample type.
one is the, like, I think it was in the early software plugins and instruments. It was like the FFT granular formant synthesis or something like that, where you could like, it was a very CPU intensive way of how to like take a snapshot of a spectrogram of like a tiny like millisecond, you know, like like a snapshot of audio spectrogram, and then extrapolate those waves and kind of keep that that frame going. And obviously there's a whole evolution to that, and like it's widely used in modular synthesizers, like the digital modules, such as like the, what's it called, clouds or something. So, and then I think what the electro harmonics thing was, it was a bit like, I don't want to get it wrong intentionally, but I'm pretty sure that what it is, it's like a tracking algorithm that measures the pitch of something that feeds a guitar synth.
Okay, I thought it worked like a delay and held the delayed notes. But I've no idea about making these sort of things.
No, I mean, it's like you have a Hog or something, which is a guitar synthesizer, and it's a technology that electro harmonics has been known for, like, for a long time. They were the pioneers. Electro harmonics used to actually be the Gamechanger company, kind of, like they invented many like style, like.
Yeah, no,
they
you're
invented
absolutely right.
many like subcategories of pedals. I think there's a lot of information on that, but what it is, like, the foundation for the Freeze was there already, like their proprietary guitar synth engine, which could like imitate a guitar synth, similar like a Casio synthesizer or something, and combined with a tracking algorithm. So
what you're saying is they had the tech, and it's part of what's in other pedals, and they've kind of separated it and gone, "Here you go, you can have this as a standalone pedal."
Yeah, I think like the Freeze is just one of the features for the Hog 2 or the Poly Hog or whatever, Pog 2. Yeah. So to me, like, so the interesting thing about the Plus pedal is that like we're just using a different style, a different method. So it's a little bit more advanced platform. It uses a modern microcontroller and like a RAM that records audio at high fidelity, stores a circular buffer of audio signal, and then once you engage the pedal, it does this like it like looks back in its most recent memory and creates like the longest possible sample that can be looped circularly, and then there's optimization for that samples, like overlap regions and other proprietary things. And actually, it's really funny, but a month ago we got granted a US patent for that technology.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
Which is really cool because we wrote a patent with no money and with no with no experience, and like with minimal consultations from like patent attorneys and stuff like that. When we were like
really
25,
cool,
and we got the patent, like, which is pretty cool. I mean, it sounds more impressive than it is, but it's like a thing to hang on the wall, you know, like.
Right next to the troll comments is the
yeah somewhere.
Yeah, man. I've had this for years, and it's something I was saying to Ilja before. You know, you've seen most of my boards, haven't you, man? And I've always have the Plus pedal on, and same with the one we're going to be moving on to next, which is the plasma pedal. But this thing, one of the nice little surprises with it when I first got it was the wet switch, because people don't realize that you can just have it so like you can play a chord and then kick it in, so you haven't got to like swell your notes in and these sort of things, and it gives you some ambience, man. It really does. You put a nice long delay on after that, reverb on after that, and you've just got ambience for days. This thing has so many uses.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, I already told you, like, it's really always nice to hear this, because like it was our first pedal and our first product, and like we only had the big like very like scandalous name. And like we were always really worried that like what the fuck are we doing, getting ourselves into, and like will people get it, because it's also not a cheap pedal. But yeah, you've been with us and supporting us, and like we've been texting each other since the very beginning, and like you've always been very like a positive reinforcement for us. So thanks a lot, man.
No, I appreciate that. And
I just wanted to say two things about the Plus. So like, forget all the technical bullshit that I said earlier. Like, all you need to know is that it lets you create layers and stack them up.
Yeah.
And they just sound much better than like the stuff that comes in with the built-in with the POG 2 or with the freeze. It does have its drawbacks, but it does have a much better like sound quality. And I suggest I'd be happy to share a video that our friend Chris Buck recorded last week.
Yeah, I saw that last night actually.
That was amazing. Like, I mean, it was a smile on everybody's face. Like, it's fucking awesome, like, performance.
Chris is a player. He really is such a good player.
It was how natural the pedal sounded as well within that mix. I mean, Chris is an amazing player, and he could make a guitar from Argos sound good. But he the pedal.
He can make a shitty pedal sound great too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it worked. You could almost kind of see the inspiration going on with like a feedback with him being inspired by the sound of the pedal.
Oh yeah, that totally happens every single time you use that. There's not a lot of pedals that do that.
And it was such a natural. It was a natural kind of sound, because the electro-harmonic stuff, from what I've heard, can sound a bit synthesized and a bit digital sounding with their repeats. It almost sounds a little bit unnatural, whereas it was really organic sounding.
I like a lot of pressing the. Yeah, I like a lot of the electro-harmonic stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
this stuff is made so well. There's stuff like you just the feel of the knobs. You know, when you move them around, each little tiny. They don't just turn. Each little tiny turn on it is a tiny little click, so it goes like as you turn the knobs around and everything along those lines. It really feels so well made.
Yeah, I mean, we did everything wrong with this one, like in terms of like costs and production. Like, when we were young. Yeah, it's like we actually like had a small workshop where a guy like with his assistants, like they hand casted the first, I think, 4,000 of these brass like things. It's insane. And yeah, another thing that's like sets this apart from I think the freeze is that this by design it will work with almost any instrument. Like, so the freeze is optimized to sound like a guitar synth, whereas maybe you will have tracking problems with certain bit, like, you know, a 5-string bass or something, or like with this one you can sing into it, you can play a flute into it, and you can hit a cymbal into it, like with like, you know, just light it up.
But can you play a spade guitar into it?
Yeah, yes.
Here's one I made earlier. Fantastic.
Yeah. So like, I'm actually working on a piece right now with this. This is my favorite like thing to do these days.
Hold it up to the camera, man. People got to see
you can check out like there's this guy Justin Johnson, who's a legend. I'm sure you guys are all like blues fans, so I think Justin Johnson is like this. I think he's the last true Americana blues guitar hero. Like, he plays like shovels and guitars made out of wash tubs and whiskey barrels and stuff like that. And yeah, this guitar is made by him. It's his original design, and he also has a lot of stuff like with the plus pedal as well. So check it out.
No, that's cool, man. That's I'll have a look at that.
Definitely.
Okay, so shall we move on to the next big release? So you released that in 2017. Am I right in saying the plasma pedal came out in 2018?
Yep, exactly. What would like the next? So we're trying to keep the pattern of like every winter NAMM, we like every time September comes around, we start like, what the fuck? Let's go! Like, and then like, yeah. And then we're trying to come up with a concept that's like presentable, at least for the winter NAMM.
No, I'll put my hands up and admit to something here. When this first came out and we saw videos of it, I had a chat with a bunch of friends, and we're all talking about it, and we're all saying, "No way are they really getting that? It's a gimmick. No way are they getting that that distortion through that." And it wasn't until we tried it, and we were like, holy shit, that is actually how, because you can see it corresponds exactly with what's going on in the tube, and it's, you know, even the little tiny bits are like little bits of sizzle, and the stronger currents that are going through it at a stronger signal, and it's just amazing. A, that no one's ever thought of it before because it's so good, and B, that you've managed to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we got a lot of shit for this one too.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, my favorite comment on the plasma is like under one of the like NAMM videos where the sound quality was not the best. Like somebody wrote like the most eloquent sentence. Like it's like, sounds like shit on frying pan.
Do you think that might have been Matt?
But yeah, so I mean, so like Lee was alluding to, usually guitar pedals get distortion through a couple of ways, either like overloading the amplification stage, or using either diodes or transistors to clip the signal. And this pedal doesn't do that at all, does it? It's got, am I right in believing it's xenon inside a tube?
Yeah, I mean, like, depends on how technical you want to get, but the first, I think Josh from JHS has done a fantastic video on the history of distortion. Mm-hmm. And like he goes in depth on all the technical, like how the components have driven the industry. But basically, like starts with like busted speaker cones, then goes into like
Kinks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like Rocket 88 or something. Yeah, and then like so it's like starts with and then Link Ray, I think. But yeah, so it's like the first was like the vacuum tube clipping, then it's transistors that are germanium were the first ones, and then because of the war they developed a better transistor which was called a silicon transistor, which were more stable at different temperatures. And then they had like, I think then the next I think electric harmonics played a big part in moving over to op amps. Yeah. And then most recently, then there was a whole big period where those things were just like optimized and rehashed and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then most recently, there's digital drives, which are also, you know, a genre in its own. So, but yeah, here the whole gimmick and the whole thing, like the whole unique element is like we're using a step up flyback coil transformer.
Okay.
So it's like when you had, it's like a,
yeah, it takes the voltage from 9 volts or whatever up to a point where it can jump across a
yeah, but it's really high, isn't it? It's a really, really high voltage.
Yeah, it's like you know, it's like one of the things you learned in like physics. Like it's like you have the primary windings, and then the secondary windings on like two different size coils, and then the amperage and the current like evens out. Like this gets amplified by that factor, and then you have much higher voltage, but with less amperage. So even though this thing is like,
it's really basically pinching the end of a hose, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's like pinching the end of a hose, basically.
Yeah. That's exactly how they teach the physics in school, like with the water system analogy, like.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, so here, like the voltage goes up to like 3,500 volts, but you still could. It's like you could stick your finger in it, and you'll just get badly burned. You won't get like electrocuted, or
because it's still got the low because the wattage is the same.
Up your power supply, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, but So what it does, it's like it does have an op-amp circuit that acts as a preamp, so it amplifies the guitar signal to audio level, and then audio level is usually 1 volt. So the 1 volt signal gets sent into this like transformer.
Yeah.
And this transformer is calibrated to work at a certain frequency. Like it fires away like a certain amount of sparks per second, right? Like it's like you think you see a moving image, but it's actually like 24 frames, right? So here it's like even though we perceive this as a continuous discharge, it's actually like short bursts at about like firing away.
Yeah.
That's about 40K.
Well, it's a bit like Domino's electricity, really, doesn't it? Because it's a cascading one into the other.
Yeah, and then like what it does, it basically connects a spark gap, and these two ends, like the metallic thingies in this tube, those are the electrodes. And the xenon gas acts as a semi-conductive substance that makes the flow of electricity like easier
than going through oxygen.
Exactly, yeah. So like what
but
you
not
said
as
earlier,
easy as going through metal.
Yeah, so what you said earlier, like if we cut a guitar cable and then separated the ends like by 1 millimeter, like you could potentially increase the amount of like current in that system to a point where signal would start jumping over that 1 millimeter gap, but it would take a lot of energy for that to be achieved, and also it would make a loud acoustic popping noise, because when electricity moves through air, a lot of energy gets released as like these like those kind of sounds, right? And that's why a taser gun sounds so loud, why it goes like that in the air. But
that's your next one, isn't it?
So like this is basically a musical taser gun with larger spark gaps, and it's a closed system that uses xenon gas as a conductive substance to get rid of the resistance that the air would have. Jesus, this is a little.
I was just thinking that, but it makes sense.
Something together that long, like it's crazy.
It's brilliant.
It also gets rid of the acoustic popping sounds, so you don't waste energy that way, and you don't have a pedal board that makes noise.
Yes.
So can I ask, on the Euro rack, sorry, not the Euro rack, the plasma rack one, where the tube is longer, does the voltage need to be higher? Yeah.
So that's about almost twice as much. So it's like 5,000 volts.
Right. Okay.
And it has a different, like more serious transformer. All of them are custom made, like for these projects. So we're really like stupid when it comes to like, and that's why the pedals end up costing like boutique pedals.
And they're very boutique. They're not just made up out of a ginormous parts bin, which is like the Hammond cases of the world and these sort of things that everyone kind of like buys the Hammond cases in and then makes their pedal fit. Everything's bespoke.
Oh yeah, I mean,
not only that as well, you like with a lot of pedal layouts. Eventually, you'll find them on like pedallayouts.com or Effects Database or any of these.
Yeah.
To be able to recreate one of these, if you wanted to do like a DIY version of this, you'd need to make your own little vacuum tube of Xenon and have your own personal step-up transformer.
Yeah, I mean, there's experimental versions of these concepts on YouTube.
Really?
I mean, for example, in this case, this is actually not a very complicated idea. Like, believe it or not, like there has been a thing called a musical Tesla coil for a long time, right? And there has been performances.
Oh yeah.
Like but it's just that like we took it to a very stupidly like serious and stupidly serious level, and tried to convince ordinary guitarists that are not like technical freaks that they would get a kick out of the sound. And like we were as well, we were really like just as earlier, like we were again like worried about it, like will it work, will it be safe, will we be able to get it like certified for I bet
that must
electromagnetic emissions and stuff like that. But
did you have any trouble with that?
The plasma rack took us the plasma rack was hard to get like certified as a like Class B device,
right? Because
the voltage levels are so high, so everything needed to be rethought at least 2 times and shielded, and we needed to make custom made like transformers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I mean, like we just go to extreme lengths on the off chance that people will get a kick out of these like weird, almost science projects, like almost.
Yeah, there's something very Frankenstein about them, isn't there?
The plasma kind of the plasma range. We've mentioned the original plasma pedal, and we've mentioned the rack. And between just those two, they are 2 different beasts, aren't they? Because they've got some very different controls. Do you want to explain to us a little bit of the differences between the pedal format and the rack format?
Yeah. So number one difference, the rack is bigger, so you get a bigger tube and a bigger lightning thingy. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, for many people, that's very important. That was the number one request we had, like from people, is like, lightning. Oh, shit, can you make it bigger, more lightning? So we didn't take those seriously at first, but we kind of said, okay, like if we have like a bunch of those requests, we'll consider like let's try to make a bigger one. And then we had like a request for a bigger one from a very well-known band. And you're like, okay, I guess we have to do it now. So, and that's like a band that doesn't use. So we had to we started thinking about how we can design this thing, and they tour with like without pedals, but only with MIDI controllers, and everything is stored away on presets in like racks.
Yeah, racks. Yeah.
On like behind the stage. So like we basically realized that we worked out over time that if we're going to do a bigger one, it should be a stage-ready, fully MIDI controllable 1U rack unit with a larger tube and some extra like functionality that's kind of like seemed appealing to us. For example, like we made those custom-made transformers. Uh-huh. Which then enabled us to invent a new, like to take advantage of the increased like power and headroom and stuff. So we were able to introduce a new mode called oversaturation mode, which takes that sound to the next platform of craziness. And then we did like some other features that we kind of like thought of after we did the regular pedal. So like we just, and then some things that we wanted to include, but then we just couldn't because of space and like, So we kind of like we included all the ideas that didn't make it into the pedal because of just the
space limitations. And...
Yeah, so we did a bunch of those, such as the ring mod and tremolo.
Yes, yeah.
And then there's a mode called Clean Gate, which is awesome, where you can one of the interesting properties of the Plasma, that whole system, is that it comes with there's an inherent noise gating kind of property to it, and that noise gate, like the rack version, offers you to use the noise gate thing without adding mix. There's a bunch of cool videos about this. Like most recently, Produce Like a Pro did a video about the rack.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They literally released it yesterday.
Oh, cool!
So,
I'd love to watch that because I didn't know that much about this. I think the one thing that the world really needs in terms of drives is drives with MIDI on them, because that just means you can get so much more out of your drive. It's not a set and forget sort of thing. You can go in there and you can get, you can swap between the same pedal but different tones, and that's really, really cool.
Well, there is a certain if you're gonna basically there's a certain minimal feature set that you have to include on a proper rack unit. So it's fully MIDI controllable, including everything you see on the front panel. All the knobs can be turned with continuous control messages. There's 8 storable preset slots, and also you can run MIDI out and set up 2 units to use in the stereo setup. Choose between which one's the master unit and who's the slave unit. Also, there's an expression pedal input jack that can be assigned to any rotary knob. Also there's 3 effects loop slots for different parts of the chain. So for example, you can if you're using it in a studio setup for music production, you can route it up one time, and then just in your Pro Tools, you can go, okay, I'll send this plugin into FX Loop 2, and that way I can get a low pass filter with a bump before the plasma tube. That way you can just really do awesome stuff at the driver level, at the
That's so cool.
There's a lot of options, and we're probably not gonna make a second version of it. So we thought let's include as much stuff as we can.
You got to put this in a pedal, man. It's so cool.
And we would be completely remiss if we failed to mention the third iteration of the plasma pedal, which is what's it called?
Hang on, we got the Euro Rack one first. Let me chuck up a picture of that. Did you see the Euro Rack?
Yes, yeah. It's,
I just want to chuck that up on screen because it looks awesome.
So the plasma coil is a special version, and it's tied in with a certain artist who I would, if I think of gated, spitty fuzz tones, this is possibly the first artist that springs to mind for me.
Yeah,
that's Mr. Jack White, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it was a point where we we all probably got drunk that night when we got the got the news that they're interested in collaborating. We're all fans of Jack White, and when I was 16, I really looked up to that that music and stuff.
I did too. I spent a lot of my younger years listening to that man.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, for a young upcoming pedal company, what better possible brand ambassador would you want? It's impossible to even want anything more perfect in this particular case, with the plasma. Yeah. So yeah, we collaborated on a pedal, everything, starting from the sound, the modes, and even all the graphical design was done in partnership with Jack and his crew and their graphic design team and stuff like that.
Oh, so they helped with the graphics as well. That's really cool, man.
Actually, Jack had a lot of ideas. He had more ideas about the graphical nuances than about the sound nuances. Like the sound, which is like, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, put the thing, give me that octave combination. Fuck yeah, let's go. Good. And then there was a lot of fine tuning with the actual graphical elements. Like he insisted that there was the particular illustration of 2 Tesla towers with the Warden Cliff House and specific fonts, and obviously it was a kind of collaborative effort.
Yeah,
it took about 6-7 months.
Yeah. It's one thing that I've learned about Jack White is he's so particular about the aesthetic of all of his bands, and with the White Stripes, there was a colour theme going through all of their stuff with the white and the red
stripes that were white.
Well, of course, yeah, but there was a white and red colour scheme, and then when they went towards the later end of the career, it was more blacks coming in, and then and then when he went on to doing his solo stuff, he changed the colour schemes to kind of define those eras. So he's got a massive eye for detail, even down to the tiniest things. So, I mean, it really doesn't surprise me that that's the kind of level that he would be involved with a pedal that he's putting his name to.
Yeah, I mean, the main request from him was that we get the discharge, the electrical discharge. He asked us if we can make sure that it's discharges as a yellow lightning bolt. And we talked about xenon earlier.
Yeah.
So xenon is one of these gases that are called noble gases. And they have those semi-conductive. It's not totally accurate, but let's say it's semi-conductive gas that ionizes and conducts electricity.
Yeah.
And then there's 7 types of these gases, neon, krypton, argon, xenon, whatever.
Yeah.
And each one of them has a particular type of this light that it emits when it gets ionized. So we spent a massive amount of time finding a mixture of gas that would ionize in a yellow lightning as a yellow discharge. We did we spent, I think, something around 7,000 euros on samples of these light tubes, wow, which were all had to be custom made, and we were paying for that.
I really want to know what was the combination.
Was that is this asking the Colonel for his
Colonel Sanders, the secret dish chicken?
I'm ready to give away the combination. So the combination was that, at one point, Jack White said to somebody in his team, to give, we got a message through somebody at Third Man Records, guys, stop fucking around. Just put a yellow plexiglass little thingy on top of the standard xenon tube that you already use. We were like, okay, and it worked. And it looks yellow.
Oh,
and that's
man. After all that story, I'm so deflated now. You could have told me a lie, I would have been happier.
It's 2 parts xenon, a tiny little touch of krypton.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of fluoride.
Maybe sometimes it's good, it's healthier to just, simplify things.
Yeah,
and that was really a design lesson that we learned from him, kind of.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. £7,000 later.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's So the long story is that it's a yellow plexiglass.
Yeah, it looks yellow. Done.
Yeah, beautiful.
You could have got a felt tip pen and coloured the original one in.
You need to sometimes snap out of your own little microcosm, because we kind of live in our own little bubble. There's 15 of us, and mostly we're it's engineers, and we get a kick out of this stuff, and concocting this stuff.
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, come on, like.
Yeah. It's just a simple solution to it, and it works.
Yeah.
What's really, really cool about this is it has you have like overtones on it as well. So like subs and these sort of things on this one as well, and they work in the same way through the plasma coil as well, don't they?
Yeah. So let's kill. I'd like to basically. So the plasma, the standard plasma has a the basic plasma sound plus a blend control. Here, instead of the blend control, you only get like it's always on 100% blend, like distorted, and that knob that knob is replaced with a 6-way selector switch that offers different types of boost and octave up and down effects that are all achieved in a very interesting and clever way that was developed by Martin, who is one of the founders of Gamechanger, and he's our main development engineer. So it's like it's a way of remember I told you like about that modulation frequency that's the sparks fly at. Yeah. I mentioned something about 40K. So he found a way to achieve almost like an octave down effect by fucking with those frequencies at which the transformers are driven. So it's a very unique and interesting kind of analog, but it's not exactly analog because that modulation rate is controlled by a digital little digital chip. But it's a new transformer based, you could say that without lying too much. It's a new transformer based octave up and octave down system. So it has it works well within that realm of the previous pedal created.
It's when I got to play this in Germany last year, I didn't expect it to be as much removed from the original one as it is, but it's a completely different beast. It really is. It's it just adds a whole load of, because that second switch is a momentary switch, isn't it?
There's a thingy on the back which lets you configure that switch as a latching or momentary switch. So we did that because Jack is well known for his use of the whammy pedal as a momentary effect.
Switch.
The solos that get these momentary octave
leaps sweep up and down.
So it can be used as a momentary expressive tool, kind of like the Digitech Ricochet.
Yeah.
Or you can just have the effect that you want ready to go, dialed up, and you get to move to the next level for your solo or something. So just
it looks amazing. The other one looks great as well. This just, like you say, with all the big Tesla coils on it, it just looks great. It really does.
So I'd say that basically if somebody is debating which one to choose or something, if you are a pentatonic based guitar dude who just wants to rock out and shred and destroy amps and people's ears and strip paint off walls, then the plasma coil is a better pedal for you because it just has more weird sounds and it's kind of more brutal and more heavier. And there's the favorite video example that we have is the Rabea Massad's video. He did a 20-minute video 2-3 months ago on the plasma coil, and he broke a sweat by the end of it. It was a really awesome thing to watch.
I've not seen that one. I've seen most of his. I've not seen that one. I'll have to watch it.
So and then, however, if you are more a multi-instrumental player and you want to get more versatility out of the plasma, or maybe you're playing bass, sometimes baritone guitar, or if you want to use this thing to crush drum machines or synths. Like this is a really, really awesome system actually for synthesizers, like, and drum machines and like music production in general.
Drum machines, brilliant. I want to hear this in a drum machine.
Really crunchy sounds out of the.
It is true. Like sometimes, like drum machines, like it just goes completely crazy, and yeah, there's videos of that as well. So that's when I would say that like the standard plasma is a more rational choice.
Yeah,
because you can dial in the blends and like you can take a sawtooth oscillator tone or some kind of like like arpeggiation pattern, and then gradually like you have a setup on a table and you gradually bring in the like the noise and stuff like that. So I'd say if you want more versatility in more multi-instrumental context, then like this is a wiser choice. If you just want to rock out on guitar, then the Jack White thing is like that thing to get. That's it.
But something I find is really good fun is running the plasma pedal into my Meris Enzo. So that can do all the different arpeggios and these sort of things, and you kind of kick that in, put a bit of a blend on it, and because you've got that interesting bit on the other one. I don't know if you've got it on this one, but the tone control can either affect both the clean and the distorted, or just the distorted signal, and you can get some really interesting tones using that when it's just affecting the distorted.
Yeah, we did that
cool.
we did that to accommodate bass players, because first of all, like most bass players complain that fuzzes and distortions don't have a blend, like a clean blend.
Yeah.
And then also, even when they do, whatever EQ system the manufacturer has chosen will color the clean blend anyway.
Yeah.
So here you can actually you can flick the switch here and disconnect the EQ circuit from the clean side, like, and then so it doesn't color the clean blend tones like at all. So you have your regular like big fat bass thing, which like if you step on a pedal and you lose the bottom end or something, like the song just gets like it starts limping, like until you get the fuzz on top, you lose the foundation. So here you can have it set up at 50-50, like distorted and clean, and you can tweak the EQ of the distortion and disconnect the EQ from the clean as well. So yeah, that's why we built that.
So we've got a bit of a dilemma. We're coming up towards the hour, and we've still got your new pedal and the motor synth to talk about, and that motor synth we could be talking about for an hour on its own.
Yeah.
Should we glance over it quickly?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I always talk so much. Like
no, I really don't mind running over an hour. I was thinking of your time more than ours.
I mean, like it's 11 p.m. here in Riga, Latvia, and I don't mind staying up longer because I'm gonna. These days, I'm back to my like night owl kind of mode.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same kettle of fish as that. Right. Okay. So I got to have a go at this. I got to see this back in October. I think it was late September, October. Yeah. And this thing, I said to Ilja before we came on, I said, I would not know what to do with it. I understand what it does, but I would get lost on this. And you've seen my pedal board, but this I would get lost on. It's absolutely immense, and it takes someone much smarter than me to deal with it. It is amazing, but the way it creates the sound is twofold, isn't it? One's optical, and one's one's from the black and white stripes that are on the spinners, and the other is from the spinners turning themselves.
Is it?
So I happen to have it here.
Okay, cool. Let me.
Yeah,
it's one I literally made earlier.
Right. Yeah, I have it here because we're actually like we're testing like the first batches right now and writing the presets and test like catching bugs and like almost ready to finally ship these.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna switch it on and hopefully you'll see like you won't get an epileptic like attack.
Well, only one way to find out.
Yeah. You know how you said about your stuff needed to be tested? Were we supposed to put up an epilepsy warning on this? Consider this to be your epilepsy warning.
Yeah, this thing is
So we got like 8 discs.
They're doubled up though, I believe.
So here,
Okay.
now it's upside down.
That's the back of it.
But like this is a system of 8 electromotors.
Yeah.
These are electromotors that are typically used in the drone industry.
Okay.
I weren't sure if I was allowed to tell anyone that.
No, I mean like it's all like I mean I'm pretty sure that like it's pretty interesting. Basically, like we were kind of just kidding around. That's like these drone things, they're becoming so available, affordable, and precise and popular because the culture is driving the technology. We were starting just to joke around that fuck, those motors are super durable, super kind of available, and like they're so precise that I bet you could even like make music with them. And we were like, oh, okay. Then that got us thinking about that, and like we thought it was going to be much easier to make them spin at certain frequencies, but it turned out to be like almost a 2-year project, and we had to hire some people. Like, yeah. So the way we always fund our crazy ideas is like we scrape all the money together that we can. We get a decent prototype running, but it still probably needs a lot of work. Then we crowdfund based on that initial wave of interest.
Yeah.
And then the crowdfunding money is what lets us complete the project. So we haven't failed this anybody yet, but yeah, we've been delayed on. We've had shipping delays like pretty much each time, but with the motor synth, it's been at least 3-4 months after the promised deadline, I think. Yeah, or maybe even more.
I think a lot of people are expecting that at the moment, though, aren't they? Given the current circumstances.
Yeah, we've got like at least like 450 people waiting for these that paid like literally 1 year ago. So
God, you might as well change the name to Analog, man.
Oh. Thankfully, everybody's really like supportive, and we don't have any like angry complaints or something like that, because everybody understands that's what they're signing up for. So there's a lot of information about this, but yeah, mainly like the idea behind is that like analog synthesizers produce sound with this with this element called like VCO, which means voltage controlled oscillator.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what VCOs are.
Yeah.
And then like if you want a polyphonic synth, then you need separate like VCO. Like each voice like has its own like oscillator. Like, and usually it's just a vibrating crystal or something like that. Like in that world. But when you think about it, an electromotor is also a voltage-controlled oscillator, because the more current you give it, the faster it starts spinning. So, and then we just started dreaming up this kind of design, and one thing led to another. So we arrived at this, like, at these 8 motors, which, what the 8 motors are stand for, like the 8 motors let us, like, they allow us to create an instrument that is supports 4-note polyphony with 2 oscillators per each musical key. So you can set up your tone with like a low bassy note as the foundation, and then a top note does the cuts through. Then you have, that means like every time you press down on the key, you can use the keys that are built into the synth, or you can use a MIDI controller, right? Like anything like this.
Yeah.
So if you press a note, two of the motors will take care of that note. One will take the one voice, then the other takes the other one. So you can do 4 notes at a time, and then like that whole system was a very, very big technical challenge, which I don't think we want to get into right now. But there's stuff online which you can read about it. Like go to our website and stuff. But yeah, everything else on the synth we tried to build in the best possible traditions of analog synthesizers.
If I remember rightly,
it has an analog filter section with like 4 different types of like filters. It has like cross modulation, detunes, portamentos, like different types of envelopes, filter envelopes, modulation, assignable like LFOs, arpeggiator, sequencer, like a lot of different stuff. It can be synced with like your beat machine. It can be also be used as you can use it as you can use the filter of it and plug a guitar into it, like on the Korg MS-20.
Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a big it's a big project, and it's like definitely the most complicated thing that we've ever tried. And yeah,
I can imagine. It splits the signal as well, doesn't it? So it sends so you can affect it in 2 different ways. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah,
sure gear, man.
Like, yeah, right now. Is there anybody even left watching at this point? Like,
yeah, we've got people watching.
We've got viewers, yeah.
But right, okay.
Do you want to move on to the most recent release, or the most recent teaser that we got at the most recent NAMM, at least?
This is really, 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 really cool.
Just when you think that Gamechanger can't do anything else that will surprise you, then they release a spring reverb that is powered by it's rather than using inductors, it uses lights, really sensitive optic sensors to detect the vibration of the spring.
It's an optical reverb, isn't it?
Yeah. So we got some practice with these like infrared sensors, thanks to the motor synth, because as Lee mentioned earlier, like there's each motor is equipped with these like discs, and there's patterns, and they're being read by like optical sensors, and that's how you get different wave shapes, along with the like electromotor sounds, which are picked up by magnetic pickups. Yeah. So, but yeah, like the motor synth like got us started like using these like infrared sensors. Then we kind of like repurposed the knowledge that we discovered through this project, and we combined that with the spring tank, and then it's a really interesting sound, and hopefully like by the time we ship, hopefully what we wanted to do is we wanted to make a analog like spring reverb system, but that has the versatility of, let's say, like a more digital, all these digital reverbs, they have like
the
shimmer plate and slapback, or they have like modulated reverbs. So we realized that a lot of those like sound palettes can be achieved in an analog way with the help of these sensors. For example, like we're using a thing we have this mode like on the light pedal. It's like it's basically a shimmer reverb, but yeah, we are achieving it by pitching up the
trails,
like the overtones of a certain set of like these sensors.
That's really cool.
So hopefully, like we'll get the analog kind of representations of these reverb effects that we always considered like digital.
Yeah, very digital, like shimmery things that have only ever existed in the digital realm. You're now finding an analog way of reproducing that, and it's hopefully again going to be something much like your plus pedal is to the EHX freeze and stuff, where it's a more organic and more natural sound. The analog way of doing it will be that more natural, and because it's picking out the harmonics of a real spring that's moving rather than just guessing at what that would be.
There's something that I've wanted someone to do for ages. So I've spoken to a few people. I even spoke to Ilja about it years ago, and I said to him, what I want is someone to make a spring reverb that isn't huge, but a real spring reverb that's analog. And I said to you, can't someone basically put like a microphone and just amplify the signal that's coming out of it? And you turned around and said, no, you can't, but we are working on something like that at the minute.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
cool.
I was like, oh, man, and this was ages ago. So when
I
you
probably lied to you, and then, like, you yeah.
No, man, you were like, no, we're working. You know, I knew you were being legitimate, but it was such a great idea that you ended up with. It was just when you brought it out, I was like, this is great. I remember even speaking to Luke over at Stone Deaf about it years and years and years ago. About it. You know, can't someone make a real spring reverb so I can get an analog pedal to create my reverb, sounds? And you've managed to do it, man. It's brilliant.
That one is still not finished, so we are close. But like as usual, like we debuted the concept at NAMM, and now we're very close to the final like PCB, and like hopefully everything really goes really well, and like we can start manufacturing them soon. But unfortunately, this like pandemic stuff has been a bit of a nuisance, like, and
yeah.
So there will be there will be updates on that, but definitely this summer, like we're going to be like shipping all those out. So, but I'd say the unifying factor between all of these things that we're trying to do is that, like, when you think about it, most pedals are either like rehashed from each other,
yeah,
right, and then the digital modern pedals, there's definitely a place for that, and we don't want to make any enemies like in the industry or whatnot. We try to be friends with everybody, but our kind of internal our own filter for ideas is that, like, can this sound be reproduced with like a digital algorithm? And like, if the answer is no, then okay, then let's build it. So basically, like, even though the Plus is a digital algorithm, it won't work without that particular physical interface, right? And then like the plasma pedal, like we tried making Kemper profiles out of that, and like the Kemper just doesn't understand it. It just doesn't sound like it at all. Like it's immune to being Kemper, like Kemperized or something.
Kemperized.
It just sounds like no attack, none of that sputtery stuff going on. So like, like you look at this like typical like $350 like multi LFO tremolo thingy that's like digitally controlled, or like a Big Sky or something like that. Those are fantastic tools, but basically they are like mini computers that are locked to just do one thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So theoretically, you could achieve those effects like with a computer program or just with a bit of code, like, and there are very, very sophisticated reverb and delay algorithms like developed by real scientists, like starting from the 80s, like for the digital racks, and then when the DAWs started coming in. there's a lot of like almost scientific level work that has been already accomplished in like to create digital emulations of spaces and reverbs and that kind of stuff.
Well, you look at what Strymon's done. You know, their stuff is.
I think Strymon are like pushing that game, like in terms of pedals for sure.
Yeah,
and like so is Chase Bliss and Earthquaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for us personally, like if we want to make sure that the things that we build cannot be just replaced by a block of code, and you know, like a music audio interface.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting way of looking at it. I didn't realize you did that. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, the motor synth, that's the whole point of it. Like, there's probably no way of recreating this natural sound of like electro motors, like digitally. Or why would anybody like sit there and write that algorithm anyway? Like,
yeah.
Someone will do it. Or try.
They will try.
Yeah. What's the button on the top of the light pedal do? The switch right at the top.
Sorry?
There's a switch. You know where the tone switch is on the plus pedal, on the plasma pedal? There's one on the light pedal. What does that do for that?
Oh, that's also like latching and momentary.
Ah, okay.
So, for example, you can set the Oh yeah, there's actually no. Wait. Oh, the one on the back. That's an accelerometer switch.
Oh.
So, like, imagine when you have a spring reverb system like on your pedal board, and let's say you wear like big platform Dr. Martens shoes,
and you give it a
and
kick.
you step on the pedal to put it into motion, like to engage it. What you're gonna inevitably get is like a big crash because the springs just like start vibrating. So then we what we did is like we came up with this like solution where we put a tiny accelerometer chip that costs like under $1, which are typically being used for like cell phones and that kind of stuff, which is designed to detect motion and vibration and like detect G-force. And we put it on the same circuit board that houses the springs.
And it compensates.
It's like a suspended circuit board with the spring system on it. The suspended element is so to even out like vibrations. But still, if you like really yank it, like step on it hard, as soon as the accelerometer detects that motion, it will shut off the reverb, like the wet output to the amp.
But you can turn it so you can still do that if you want to.
Yeah, so you can go like, and then the reverb will only like fade in after it stops shaking.
Gotcha.
So, and that has like three settings of it, like accelerometer off, soft, and hard. Like, so yeah.
That's
so
cool.
The soft setting would be like if you're on a stage that's super loud and the ground is shaking, you know what I mean? Then the soft setting is meant for that. And you might have like a little bit of like jittery reverb sound because of it. But the hard setting is like it's just more sensitive and like
for those people with heavy feet.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Like I've always destroyed everything on the pedal boards.
Our friend Alex over at Anasounds does the big the Elements reverb, which is big old tanks, a proper spring reverb, same as this, and he sells that as a feature that you can you can give it a whack.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like that's a much more clever way of doing it. Separate the spring tank from the physical thing that you hit, and it's been used with modular synth setups for a long time. Like when you have the like Eurorack casing, you'll have the control panel on as one unit, and then you can stash away the reverb box somewhere else or screw it on the inner kind of like side of the case or whatnot, and connect it with wires. So yeah,
there's a lot of love for these. One of my colleagues over at on my own page, he over at Tonepedia said, "We really need one of these beauties." Chris, it isn't even out yet. Very original design. Looking forward to this one from John McClune.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, you did a great video for this. That came out near Narm, wasn't it? And it was absolutely brilliant. Everyone was saying, "Oh, I really want these," and we were all like, "When's it out? When's it out?" Not yet.
Yeah, we did like a pre-order round on reverb.com right after NAMM, and I think we're gonna be sticking to reverb.com for a while for new releases, because we've used like our own website to crowdfund. We've used Indiegogo to crowdfund the Plasma and then the Motor Synth. But like, yeah, Indiegogo is not rock and roll. Like, it's more like, for buying like kitchen appliances and shit. Like.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. And what's the other ones? I can't remember what they're called, but there's lots of these sort of crowdfunding things, and you do see people try and crowdfund pedals fairly often, and I don't know how good the response is. Often it's just like the next fuzz, but with your stuff, it is people know to expect every NAMM. It's kind of like, what's Gamechanger doing now? They do, because I always ask you what's coming out, Ilja, and you don't tell me. You get.
I sometimes do. I think I did.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, but a lot of the times we ourselves have no idea what's going. Like, how are we gonna live up to the name another time or something? But live up to the hype at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year we actually do have some stuff planned for NAMM, and we're hoping that the COVID and catastrophe won't prevent us from doing so.
Yeah, well, it's affecting a lot of people, but
let's hope that there is a winter NAMM first of all.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yes, well, summer NAMM's gone, isn't it? That's a shame.
Yeah, shame.
But it is what it is. Mate, you and your team have done an absolutely outstanding job in the last few years, and then if people can forgive you if you don't bring something out in January, just make sure comes out in February.
Yeah, no, we'll have something.
Yeah, good.
Like a salmon-colored guitar cable or something,
or a spade guitar.
Yeah,
like this one.
Yeah. You were showing that earlier. I'm just taking the piss.
Indeed. I'm going to plug who made this. This is Practical Patch cable. This.
Oh, is it?
This is a Practical Patch, yeah. And he's still making stuff at the moment. So hats off to Chris, because it's a wonderful cable and it's a beautiful colour.
By the way,
it's not.
I'm going to say it. We do have an idea for a guitar cable, but it's so silly that we're scared to even put it out.
It's not got the wrap built into it, is it? Because that's already been done.
Yeah. I'll tell you at some point, Lee, but you have to promise to classified.
Oh, yeah. I never tell anyone. I'm good for it.
I didn't think you'll want to.
Oh man. What you need to do, right? Your next pedal needs to be a rainbow machine, but analog.
What?
The not Electromas. The Earthquaker rainbow machine, but an analog version.
Analog version. Oh shit!
That'll keep you busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah.
Like a tape loop that runs in a spiral or something or.
It needs to be powered by unicorns, mate. Come on, let's be serious.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. Sometimes we do for every product that we arrive at, we do a lot of brainstorming, and there's some ridiculous ideas being bounced around that are oftentimes just stupid as hell, and we have to get rid of them and then find return to the ground and start over. Yeah,
I'm just saying that I want a MIDI controllable plasma coil. That's what we want.
No, that's what Lee wants. I'm not entirely sure the rest of the guitar community are the same as Lee.
I've got to be honest, that is probably true, but still, you know.
Yeah, chop.
Yeah, come on, Ilja. Get that to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're taking requests. Sure, no problem.
I'm not Jack White. But...
like all musicians out there, we're taking requests.
Right. Okay, should we wrap it up then, guys?
By the way, but it's true. Like sometimes people send us ideas, and if anybody watching has an idea that they want to share and entrust into us, then we're happy to take a look at it for sure.
Yeah, and you can always put your name to the claim. Oh yeah, I said that to him. That'd be really cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on the design together, like
like Jack White. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, why not? Like, there's great ideas out there, and some people just don't have some people actually have important things to do in life. Like, yeah.
There's tons of great ideas. It's just knowing how to accomplish them, and it's
implementation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really one of the final thing I want to say is, like, first of all, thank you, and it's really awesome to that people are watching, and it's nice to get to ramble on for so long. Yeah, one of the things that has allowed us to focus most of our time on development of ideas and like shooting beautiful videos is that we don't build the stuff like in-house. We don't have a basement or like a bunch of guys with beards and soldering irons. We don't claim to be a boutique manufacturer because of that. We just make them at a boring, electronics manufacturing facility here in Latvia. And we just focus on the development, and then we hand over the manufacturing side of things to a contractor that builds the whole thing under our supervision. So we make a bit less money, and we have to organize stuff in bigger batches. But at least it frees up our minds to focus on the dev. And that way we can afford to make pedals that use ridiculous expensive components as well.
That's it.
Well, yeah, it's great that you're keeping the work in Latvia as well, because that's where you're from, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like a great philanthropic mission, but it's basically like we wouldn't be smart enough to like organize it somewhere else. It's easy. It's comforting to know that you can always meet the guys and meet the people who we go there all the time and we participate. We have actually now like multiple facilities, but yeah, now everything is like working like 20%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes it, the whole world's like that at the moment, though, isn't it? It's not much going on right now, other than live streams.
Yeah,
lots of content, isn't there? Lots of really bad covers of old songs on the
Wonderwall.
That's it, yeah.
Do you know what? I've not seen any of these. The amount of time I spend on Facebook, and I've not seen any of these. All I've seen is people complaining about it.
Perhaps that's what you need to do before next podcast is whip out the acoustic guitar and get singing Wonderwall.
Whip out the what? Sorry.
Right. So to whip us back around to the end of the podcast, Ilja, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If those people who are watching or who will be listening back to this on, because I'm assuming I'm going to put this out as a bonus podcast on our podcast as well. So for those people, if they want to catch your stuff, where do they go to find out more about the Gamechanger products? Yeah,
I mean, GameChangerAudio.com. That's the safe bet, and click subscribe to newsletters to receive spam. Then we are on Instagram, Gamechanger Audio, can't miss it. Then we have a YouTube channel with fantastic, great videos and only 3,000 subscribers.
We know that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. And,
It's tough, isn't it? It's a tough world.
if you don't want to do any of that, then my suggestion for the pandemic is you should all follow Brian May's Instagram account, because he's just
Great, isn't
fantastic.
it?
Like, it's what's been putting me through these horrible times.
Did you see him do that one with what's
Gary Barlow.
no, the baldy chap from
Jason Wilding. He's the one with him as well.
no. The guy from Little Britain.
Oh, Matt Lucas.
Yeah, he did that potato song.
Okay, brilliant.
Was
Yeah. So there's Brian May is doing some amazing stuff. He's just being Brian Mays, and he's playing some tunes.
I love it that he's like this rock titan, and he's just like in his almost sweatpants with like a cheap 5-watt Vox like plastic amp, like with the phaser going and like a delay thing, like just like playing Beatles songs and stuff and like classic solos of his. It's really cool.
I saw that Beatles one. That was really good. Yeah.
It's a good reminder that you don't need like a lot of stuff.
Tone is in the fingers, even face tone.
We are totally in the wrong industry to be telling people that, Ilja.
Yeah, tone is definitely not in the fingers. By pedal.
Yeah, you need as much gear as you can get, people.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Yeah. Once you're there, try to face the challenges of music without being like massively in debt,
Okay, so
without maxing out the credit cards and selling shit.
So
it's more important to you will be cool if you have the most expensive full gear.
Yeah. Right, at this point we say goodbye to our viewers but not to our listeners, so we'll all wave goodbye and say bye everyone, thank you for tuning in. That's very kind of you.
Indeed.
And if you want the next bit, you'll have to listen to the podcast to listen to the end, because we're going to tell a joke.
We are we? We are.
We always tell a joke. Right, okay, goodbye everyone.
Ta-da, the beat. Oh,
You guys, take care.